This is OBN's weekly program, Focus. I am Namom Sadmaso, and my guest today is Egypt's ambassador to Ethiopia, who is also permanent representative to the Africa Union and United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Ambassador Abubakar Hefni Mahmoud. Ambassador, welcome to OBN. And how can you remind us the historical relationship between Ethiopian people and Egyptian people and also the government?
I mean, the relation between Egypt and Ethiopia can go very, very far in history. We can go even back to the Pharaoh's time, the time of the Pharaohs, where some Ethiopians came to Egypt. And also we can talk about the Ptolemy, the Greeks dynasty that governed Egypt. That we found in Ethiopia some coins from this time of the Ptolemy, which means that at that time there was even contact between Egypt, Alexandria at that time was the capital of Egypt, and Ethiopia. Then, of course, came two major events that have forged the relation between Egypt and Ethiopia, which is firstly Christianity. As we know in history, the Egyptian Orthodox faith and the Ethiopian Orthodox faith are the same. We have been one church from the 4th century till the separation of the two churches in 1958. So it's almost 1,500 years where the two faiths of these two people were completely joined together. And then, of course, from the Islamic faith, we have the first hijrah of Islam to Aksum, and how they were well received by the king Nagashi of Ethiopia at that time. So we can say that from the faith point of view, from the religion point of view, we have shared a lot. Ethiopia have saved Islam, and Egypt and Ethiopia have forged the monophysist faith that is surviving to today. And I don't think in the world there is only the Ethiopian and the Egyptian church, and maybe the Eritrean church also, and the Armenian, one of the Armenian churches, who are monophysicists like Egypt and Ethiopia. Today, the Ethiopian church and the Egyptian church are sisterly churches. From a historical point of view, the relation between Egypt and Ethiopia in the modern times have seen many ups and downs. But let's talk about some of the ups in these relations. And here I will come to the Italian invasion to Ethiopia in 1935, and how Egypt stood beside Ethiopia during this invasion. Because at that time, when His Imperial Highness Emperor Haile Selassie, when he went to the League of Nations and made his historical speech, no one stood beside him except maybe Egypt and I think Mexico. They were the only two countries who stood beside Ethiopia. Egypt was the only country who have condemned the use of chemical weapons against the Ethiopian people. And in 1935, Egypt have sent a medical mission to Harar at that time to help into the medical and humanitarian support to Ethiopia. Of course, when Emperor Haile Selassie came back to Ethiopia to continue the fight, he came through Egypt, and he went back through Egypt. So Egypt was in the heart of the Egyptians for many, many years. Then we'll come to the modern times. We have been some hard time under the Derg government. It was not easy relationship. And then this relationship gradually was transformed when the Derg regime have fallen. But let me jump to today. I think that today Egypt and Ethiopia are witnessing a new era. I may say it's a golden era. And I'm so sorry that I will have to leave when this era is starting. But I think that this era is going to start. It has started by the historical visit of His Excellency the Prime Minister to Cairo this month, the beginning of this month. And I think that this visit is going to open new doors. Some of them are already existing, and some of them will come in the future. And let me point out 3 or 4 issues here. The first thing is we're going to, and they're going to be meeting next month in order to create a fund to boost the economic and investment relation and developmental relation between the 3 countries. This fund that will have around $1 billion in the beginning, it will be used in order to boost this relationship. And I think this is a very important thing. The relations between nations should be based not only on sentiments and nice words, but on interests. And this is what we're going to work on. The Nile issue, we had agreed that the Nile issue should be a factor of cooperation, not a factor of separation or a factor of discontentment. So I am sure, and I think that we have 2 very wise leaders today. These leaders have decided that we are going to solve this Nile issue for good in the benefit of the 2 countries. We are also going to promote on the business side also an Egyptian Ethiopian industrial park that we hope that it will see the light. We have expressed this before and we are going to formulate it again. We did formulate it again. We are also expressed our interest, our private sector, to enter the Ethiopian market as an independent producer of energy. We are interested and we are going to make pharmaceutical industries in Ethiopia. Ethiopia, also some Egyptian companies are here working from long years. We have a very big factory for refrigerators and electronic equipments that is going to produce here, that they are already producing here. They have many lines of production and they're going to be used to export to the region. I remind you that Egypt and Ethiopia are member of COMESA. And of course now we are member of the AFCFTA that will see light hopefully in the very, very near future. Egypt and Ethiopia also do have excellent relation in the health sector. And here I have to emphasize that Egyptian cooperation with Ethiopia in the medical sector is not only a hit and run relation. We don't, the Egyptian doctors, they don't come here to make operation and go home. They come here to train an Ethiopian team. And here I would like to emphasize 2 specific sectors. The first one is the heart sector, where Professor Magdi Yaoub, Sir Magdi Yaoub, he's one of the most prominent heart surgeons in the world, worldwide. This man who has a center in Aswan, in the south of Egypt, he comes here around 2 or 3 times a year in order to prepare an Ethiopian team for open heart operations. And I think that maybe in 2 or 3 years it will be possible to make open heart operations in the Black Lion Hospital. The other issue is in São Paulo, we have a surgeon, one of the most prominent surgeons, neurosurgeons. As a matter of fact, he's a surgeon of spinal deformity, and he's preparing an Ethiopian team. He has been coming here for the last 2 or 3 years. I think he has 2 more years, and Ethiopia will be the only center for spinal surgery in Africa, along with Cairo and Accra. So it will be only 3 centers in Africa for spinal deformity operations. So this is what we do, and this is what we continue to do. Of course, there are many other sectors I can talk about, but I mean, I'm trying just to point out some highlights.
No matter how we share different things in common, but recently the Nile Basin issue have been intensified between Ethiopia in Egypt as it is building a tension. So how can you express its reality?
Let me say something in the beginning. Firstly, Egypt wants all its neighbors to be prosperous and rich, because we have experienced misery and wars in many neighboring countries. And we have seen this misery and wars coming back to us. So it's something obvious that Egypt would like all its neighbors to become rich and prosperous, because this will benefit all of us. This is the first thing. The second issue is that concerning the Renaissance Dam, I mean, I think that the media has to emphasize that Egypt and Ethiopia and Sudan, they have signed an agreement on recognizing the Renaissance Dam. So I don't know why people are coming back and saying Egypt doesn't want Ethiopia to. We have already signed this. We have already signed an agreement that Egypt recognized the Renaissance Dam, and Egypt is going to work with Ethiopia in order to maximize the benefit of this Renaissance Dam. So today, coming and saying all this thing, I think that there are some people who doesn't want to see us friends. There are some people who wants to see us always in difference. And we should not give these people the time, or give them the ways and means to implement this. So, and this is what our two leaders have decided. We are going to work together. We are not going to listen to all what the others are saying, and we are going to work together in order to reach an agreement that will benefit all of us. On an absolute value, there is water for everybody. And why not making agricultural projects in Ethiopia? I mean, I just want to tell you that if Egypt transfer part of its alimentary security or food security to Ethiopia, it means that we are putting in the hand of Ethiopia our life. So what is much more than that to show our confidence in relation with Ethiopia? We are sure that no one in Ethiopia wants to harm us, and you must be rest assured that nobody in Egypt wants to harm Ethiopia. On the contrary, I mean, you go to Egypt, and all my friends who have been there, I mean, once you say that you are Ethiopians, people hug you. I mean, you are our brothers.